Hello, my name is Lauren Metcalf, and today I'll be presenting my research on the effects of capitalism and conflict on healthcare in the DRC, specifically looking at its effects on Ebola. So just a little bit of background information, the DRC has a really long history of conflict and corruption and exploitation that dates all the way back to colonization. But more recently, following the Rwandan genocide, there was a large influx of Hutus into the eastern region of the DRC, which is where we'll be looking at today. But in addition to the Hutus, there was a lot of armed groups that came as well. And following the influx of people, essentially the different ethnic groups were pitted against each other in a ploy for power that was ultimately won by Laurent Kabila. And despite there being a peace treaty in later years, there's still a lot of conflict in the region today. So in the eastern regions that we're talking about, there's a large ethnic diversity, but specifically we're going to be looking at the Kivu and Ituri provinces because those are the two provinces that have been affected the most by Ebola. So the Ebola outbreak began in 2018, and although it's been largely isolated to these two provinces, the international health organizations and the state health organization have failed to end the epidemic. And a large part of this is due to resistance from the Congolese themselves. So the Congolese are primarily resisting the health officials because they view international organizations as essentially profiting off of them and profiting off of Ebola, because these organizations essentially come in when Ebola is high and they leave right after it's been contained, but people are still dying from other diseases such as dysentery and things like that. And so they are like, well, such a small portion of people will die from Ebola when we have so many people still dying from other causes, but you fail to help us with those. You just come in, profit off of Ebola, profit off of us, and then leave. And so we can kind of understand this through the Congolese history of exploitation through capitalism. So to do this, we're going to be looking at Marx's three circuits of exchange. The first one is commodity, money, commodity, in which commodity is exchanged for money, which is then exchanged for a commodity. The second one is money, commodity, money prime, in which money is exchanged for commodities, which is then exchanged for more money. And the third realm is money for money prime, in which money is exchanged for more money. And in this highest realm is when we really see, the kind of cosmic capabilities of capitalism, because money seems to be self-generating and it's there when people truly don't value people anymore. And so the capitalist relations of production commodify people and render their labor a mere use of value, subordinate to the exchange values of the commodities that they in turn produce. And this results in physical and psychological alienation. So the capitalism has profound effects on the health of the Congolese as well. So for example, the laborers lose affirmation of self and face degradation of mental and physical health as well. And capitalism abuses and contorts the laborer's body as well, which Marx outlines in terms of physical things you can see, such as like a contorted back and like really gnarly hands. And an example of this in the DRC in particular is the mining industry, which coltan is the main resource being mined, and it's one of the resource curse resources, for lack of better words. And this entire industry is largely inhumane, and there's little consideration for working conditions, and the miners are reduced to beast of burden. So in conclusion, there's a history of governmental corruption and ethnic-based conflict that has led to instability in the region. And the conflict has made it really difficult for there to be a viable health system, and also for there to be a viable health response to epidemics such as Ebola, because the people distrust both the state and outside aid due to the history of exploitation via capitalism by the state and international agents. And so Ebola is viewed as a vector for capitalism, and the capitalism results in a sliding scale of personhood, in which the value of a person can be reduced to a beast of burden.